Since we're all here for a while, we might as well show some style. Give us a smile. Isn't that a lovely ride? Oh, sliding down, gliding down. And try not to try too hard. It's just a lovely ride. The thing about time is that time isn't really real. It's all your point of view. Oh, how does it feel to you? Einstein said he could never understand it all. Planets spinning through space, a smile upon your face. Welcome to the human race. Isn't that a lovely ride? Oh, sliding down, gliding down. Try not to try too hard. It's just a lovely ride. Isn't that a lovely ride? See me sliding down, gliding down. Try not to try too hard. It's just a lovely ride. Now the secret of life is enjoying the passage of time. Thank you.
Isn't that a lovely intro for us this morning? That's India Irie. And remind me the song title, Judy. What song title for that one? It just escaped me. Secret of Life. Just beautiful song, beautiful song. Well, good morning. Welcome to Unity of Kalamazoo on October 1st. It's spooky season, and I'm wearing my orange for it, so we're ready. All right, very good. We have we have Beth Patterson with us, providing special music, and she's going to sing along with some praise music this morning. So why don't you stand up and join us? We're going to start with I Love Myself the Way I Am, and move into Blessing to the World after that. Here we go. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful, I'm capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love you just the way you are. There's nothing that needs to do. When I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your rage, your tears, can seeing the shining star. And I love myself just the way you are. The world the way it is, 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So till the birth of peace on earth that only love can bring, and I'll help it grow by loving everything. Myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful, I'm capable of being the best me I can, and I love myself just the way I am. I love myself just the way I am. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are, and all we do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. I'm the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, on who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and all you are and all we do is a blessing to the world, a blessing to the world, is a blessing to the world.
Good morning. Is this on? I know I have a very powerful voice anyway, but I'm hoping I'll use it for it. Okay, so, my active attractor went in when the music. And, you and the people that are on streaming, watching us on streaming, you are a blessing to the world, and you are a blessing to Unity of Kalamazoo. Now, I heard in the past that by being present, we are being a present to those around us. So thank you for being present here today. Okay, is that better? Okay, whoa. Whoa, whoa. All right. So anyway, thank you, Brian. And thank you all for having some patience here. But good morning, and I already said that, okay. Thank you to all of those helping today. Sound, thank you. Streaming, hospitality, ushers, script, and bookstore, PowerPoint, our youth leaders, and of course, our wonderful music team. We have Brent. Yes. We have Brent, Cameron, and Carolyn, and then we have Beth Patterson. Thank you for being here today. So if this is your first time joining us, thank you again for being here and being present and being a present to all of us. We would love to have you fill out an information card that looks like this, that's in the pew pocket. And after service, return it to one of the ushers as you leave. They have a small gift for you for joining us today. And then our announcements for today. Our annual meeting notification went out via mail and email and snail mail, so watch your mailboxes. It's October 29th. We'll be doing some business of the church that day, so please, again, be present for that. And then today, Reverend Judy is starting a new series on aging as a spiritual practice, which will continue throughout October. I wish I could be a part of this team, but choir practice starts tomorrow and at 5:30 sharp, and the choir will be singing for us on the 22nd. And then this Thursday, we will be having an evening of music here with Kansas City-based singer-songwriter Joy Zimmerman, along with special guests Carolyn Keeble and Beth Patterson at 7 p.m. Suggested love offering is $15. I already know a few people from Hastings that are going to be coming as well.
Well, all right.
Yeah. So anyway, somebody's been telling them about you. I don't know who that could be. Okay. And then starting October 12th, we are hosting a workshop by Donna Odom called Journaling for Personal and Community Transformation. It runs 4 Thursdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. More information is out on the counter, but I know this is another thing that I wish I could be present for, but please, somebody attend in my stead. Okay. And Chip Brown is presenting a workshop here on Wednesday, October 25th at 7 p.m. It's called How Do You Feel? Sometimes it's hard to name your feelings. Chip will help us learn to be observers of what we feel and understand the sources and purpose of feelings and more. Check it out. And now, since it is the first of the month, it's time to celebrate our October birthdays. If your birthday is in October, please stand while we sing Happy Birthday. Happy one more trip around the sun. Okay, and then if we can get it a little more centered a little bit, let's join in our mission statement. As an all-inclusive community, we awaken to spirit, grow into our souls, and build a better world. Our vision: we celebrate a world of ever-awakening consciousness, abundance, and for all. Our core values: love, authenticity, stewardship, oneness, playfulness. Okay. And then our land and labor acknowledgement. Our spiritual community pays reverence and respect to all Black, Indigenous, and people of color whose lands and labor were forcibly taken. We pledge to actively dismantle racism, discrimination, and oppression in any form. Now it's time for any kids to head downstairs. Okay, so what we're going to do today is, instead of know that as you go your way, we're going to say as you come our way, okay? As you come our way, know that you are loved, special, and important to us. Okay, thank you. Okay. And now it's time for our music into meditation. Thank you.
So for today's meditation song, it's called Surrender, I Surrender by Michael Gott, and it might be new to some of you, so I'm going to sing it through once, and then invite you to join me on a second and a third time around. Okay? All right. Here we go. I am a child of the living God, made in the image of perfect love. All that I am, all I've been given to you, my God, I surrender. Surrender. All right, here we go. I am a child of the living God, made in the image of perfect love. All that I am, all I've been given to you, my God, I surrender. I surrender. I am a child of the living God, made in the image of perfect love. All that I am, all I've been given to you, my God, I surrender. I surrender. I surrender.
Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you on this beautiful first day of October, and delighted to see you here on such a beautiful sunny day. And it is a true reminder and a true demonstration of today's daily word, which is prosperity. My life may be full of blessings. My family, my friends, my home, my memories, my experiences. But it can be easy for me to take it for granted if I focus more on what I'm missing rather than on what I have. Being thankful, expressing my gratitude for my good, opens my heart. But it also opens my eye to the many ways that I am prosperous. I count my blessings, pausing to give thanks for each one. The more often I do this, the more feelings of gratitude will fill my heart, crowding out constricting feelings of scarcity, fear, or envy. From the serenity I feel in my heart to the peace that calms my mind, I am prosperous. As I greet each day with a prayer of thanks, my blessings abound. And from Psalm 36, verse 8, they feast on the abundance of your house, and you give them drink from the river of your delights. And our affirmation for today is, practicing gratitude deepens my experience of prosperity. I'll say that one more time and then invite you to join me the third time through. Practicing gratitude deepens my experience of prosperity. Together, practicing gratitude deepens my experience of prosperity. And so let's just take those thoughts of prosperity, this notion of counting our blessings, into our time of prayer and reflection and meditation this morning. And what I'd like for us to do is so amazingly simple. And yet, I know that I don't do it nearly enough. And what I'm talking about is this. What I'm going to invite you to do in the next few moments is to simply, in the silence, count your blessings. So if you are comfortable just having your hands in your lap, got 10 fingers, should be easy for us to count out 10 blessings. But again, as we go into our heart space, and we get into that space where we deeply touch the divinity that is the truth of our nature, we feel all the ways in which we are blessed. And so again, let's just take some time in the silence to count our blessings. And if you get to 10 blessings before you again hear the sound of my voice, keep counting. Because what I know is that when I open my heart to that attitude of gratitude, I feel like I'm stepping into a waterfall of realizations and insights and inspirations. And so now together, let's just take some time to count our blessings. I invite you to gently bring your time and attention back to this place. I don't know what your experience of that was, but once I got started, they just started to tumble into my head and into my heart. And I'm grateful to you for your willingness to take this time to be grateful, to be here, to support this community. You are among the many blessings that I count each and every day. And so with a big deep breath and a big resounding amen for all of the blessings that we have. Amen. Yes. Let's continue to do that. Sometime later today, you're going to walk out from someplace into the sunshine. Take a moment to count your blessings. Sometime today, you're going to sit down at the table and have a meal. And when you do that, take a moment to count your blessings. Before you put your head on your pillow tonight, and later on, when you flip it, that pillow, to get to the cool side of the pillow, count your blessings. Because we are deeply blessed always. Thank you, God.
This is another original for you today. I feel very thankful for the human I wrote this for, but it's kind of extended from there. Oneness and love, reoccurring themes. I'm you, you're me. What's this life supposed to be? Beauty and pain, yeah, yeah. What's between the fate of darkness and light? In this moment, a universe is born, a baby bird's learning how to fly. But today my heart is heavy, knowing you're in pain. All must change. I'm you, you're me. All possibilities for compassion to grow, our eyes to see beyond all we know. What's the best that we can do to see each other through? It's time now to lend out a hand, to give instead of just receive. There's hope in the darkness, life in the sea. Love's what we need. It's time now to lend out a hand, to give instead of just receive. There's hope in the darkness, life in a seed. Love's what we need. I'm you, you're me. I'm you, you're me. I'm you, you're me.
It is such a blessing to witness the easy grace of how you just work together, how you just move together and make that so seamless and so heartfelt. So thank you. It's always good to have you here, Beth, and I'm so glad to see you back. Good morning. Good morning. Ugh, I'm just really glad to see y'all. Like I was gone 1 week and it's like, where's my people? So I'm glad to be back. I'm glad that we have such a lovely, lovely first day of October. Is this amazing? Yes. This is wonderful. It's going to be like this all week too. So, just make time to enjoy it, however you can and wherever you can. So, and because it's October, it's fall, typically ministers search for some kind of series, to begin in the fall of the year. Often there's a book study that's happening. I've been thinking for a while in terms of, how I wanted to approach that with you. And so I'm beginning this new series this Sunday, Aging as a Spiritual Practice. And if you grew up or are familiar with some of the traditions in the Catholic Church, you probably are aware of the sacrament of confession. And if you come from a more traditional Bible-based type of background, because most of us are refugees and immigrants from some other type of religion or spiritual community, you might be familiar with the idea of altar calls and testifying, bearing witness as part of that spiritual practice and tradition. We typically don't do any of that in Unity. But you're going to see some confession here this morning. You're going to hear some confession this morning from me. And I'm also going to testify a little bit. I'm going to bear witness to some stuff. So we're going to do everything to make sure that you get your money's worth here this morning. So first, the confessing part. I had some really very personal reasons for wanting to do this series about aging and aging as a spiritual practice. I turned 70 this past June. And this is absolutely the first birthday milestone or any milestone, anything that has, honest to God, thrown me for a loop. The rest of them came and went and mostly were embraced with an attitude of gratitude and, I'm glad to be here and glad you're here with me. And all of that's true for this last birthday. But this birthday came with some baggage that, I don't know where it came from. I can't get it off my porch. And I've been struggling with that. ever since probably about the month before, and then certainly on and off since. So sometimes I feel like I'm in a stranger in a strange land, or that I'm just wandering in the desert, And I used to scratch my head and say, how could the Israelites have taken so long to go from Egypt to Canaan? Should have been 40 days. It was 40 years. Well, now I'm wondering, I'm beginning to understand how you can just kind of like, what? Because that's kind of some of the stuff that I'm going through right now. And what's weird about it to me, which is really the mind-boggling piece of it, is that technically, absolutely nothing has changed. I still live in the same place. I get up. Nothing has changed. One thing. Click. There was a click on the calendar, and that was it. And nothing is anything, but thinking makes it so. So my real struggle here is like, why am I having these thoughts? Especially when I know better. So there's the confession. And it's probably going to take more than 3 Hail Marys to do the penance on that one. In terms of giving testimony, bearing witness, okay? I know that I am a spiritual being having a human experience. I know that my thoughts and my state of my consciousness create my experiences of life. I know I am an expression of divine energy that's ageless and timeless, and that my spirit is eternal. So how come I can't quite shake this funk? So I'm kind of somewhat counting on the fact that I am not the only person in the room who may have had, something, yeah, maybe, a little different, but, I kind of think, certainly we all go through times of uncertainty. But this one in particular, again, I think has some unique aspects to it. So I decided that I wanted to explore this, and I wanted to do it with all of you, because I learn a lot from you, and I get a lot from the conversations that we have, and I'm blessed by those conversations that we have with each other. So that's what motivated me and inspired me to do this particular series. And for us as a community, because it's not just all about me, but for us as a community, well, sometimes it's all about me, but most of the time. But again, as a spiritual community, I think it's important for us to realize and know that we have spiritual laws, we have spiritual principles, we have spiritual tools, and we have all sorts of resources to support us as we make our way as spiritual beings on this human journey. And so, to get in touch and get connected with some of that and to tap into that power, for this series and for today's lesson in particular, I want to take a look at what it means to move from adulthood into elderhood and to make the shift from role to soul, which is something that I think is impacted a lot of us. And in doing some of this research, and I've been reading up on this for a while now because I've been trying to get this funk gone for more than a few months here. As I've been doing some research and reading and reflecting about all of this stuff, It occurs to me that there are two components that I want to bring together into the talk today about what we need to consider as we make shifts in our life, as we make this shift from role to soul in particular. The first one is simply a state of awareness. And then the other is having a process to filter and sort through all of the insights and realizations that are popping up for us. I think having a good process for filtering and sorting can help us gain a deeper understanding, and that deeper understanding can then also help us prepare to respond in a positive and proactive manner. So if you were here before the service, if you were here a few minutes before 10 and in your seats, you would have had an opportunity to see and listen to a video of a James Taylor song that was actually performed by India Arya, but she performed it for him, in honor of him, at a music awards show. And that song is The Secret of Life. And I love that. I've always loved that song, but it has become particularly fond for me now, and I've listened to it a lot lately for the message that it contains, because it says is that the secret of life is enjoying the passage of time. And so it occurred to me when I was listening to that song recently, how do I observe and or mark the passage of time? How do we do that, and certainly we keep track of birthdays and things like that. Some of those are typical markers and milestones. But I think we all have some very unique things that at some point in life just grab your attention and really make you think about the fact that time is passing. So I wanted to dive into that a little bit. How do we become aware of the passage of time? So many of us have experienced some of the more traditional ones. The birth of children, birth of grandchildren, marriage, divorce, moving from one house to another house, moving from one job to another job, all manner of beginnings and endings. We've all experienced those as part of our human journey here. But I have to confess to you that some of my time awareness moments and markers are a little weird. And they've come to me in very odd ways. So here's one that was a big one. And it goes back to when I was living in Detroit, just before I moved here to Kalamazoo. I was about right around 35 years old. I owned my own home in the city of Detroit. And I was really wired into what was happening in various neighborhoods around the city of Detroit in terms of people getting together and kind of standing up against crime in their neighborhoods, neighborhood associations coming together to promote, restoration of homes. Detroit, if you've never been there or haven't lived there, you wouldn't necessarily notice this, or know this. But the only other city in America that is more physically spread out than Detroit is Los Angeles. And there's a huge difference in population. But there's a lot of square miles in the city of Detroit, and it's all neighborhoods. There's not a lot of, there's a small downtown, but not huge. And it all comes from the way that the population came to Detroit as the auto industry exploded, and there was this tremendous need for housing. So we had a very active neighborhood association. I used to always pay attention to what was going on. We had a newsletter, all of that jazz. So I was reading this series of articles in the Detroit News about some revitalization efforts that the city was putting forth. And somewhere in that article, there was like one sentence about how they were trying to recruit more people to join the police force. And the cutoff age for applying was 35 years old. And I was coming up to my 35th birthday. So I had no desire to be a police officer. You know, that had nothing to do with it. But all of a sudden it hit me like, well, what do you mean I can't do that? You know, it just, it's like, okay, well, you're too old. And again, how dumb is that? Because, you know, if I'd wanted to be a police officer and my dream was crushed, that would be one thing, but it wasn't. It was just one of those ways that I noticed the passage of time and what it meant. So that kind of probably sparked some thinking on my part. It's like, well, okay, are you doing what you really want to do? Are you living the life you love to live? Or is there some restlessness and desire to maybe do things a little differently? So, long story short, within 2 years, I applied for and got a job in Kalamazoo. I moved here, you know, I bought a home, became a long-distance landlord because I rented my house in Detroit, and came out of the closet. So it was, you know, just because I read that one line in the article said, 35 is the cutoff if you want to be a police officer. So that's how some of this has unfolded for me. Another one that is probably equally odd happened probably about 5 or 6 years ago, right after we had moved to Madison. And after we had been there for a little over a year, I think we got this package of information from the power company saying that, you know, we can do an energy audit. As a new customer, we'd love to offer you some discounts on these wonderful energy-saving products. You can get a programmable thermostat. You know, here's a bunch of coupons to buy some LED light bulbs. They'll last for 15 to 20 years. So I'm sitting there and I'm going like, why in the heck do I want to pay all this money for a light bulb that's going to outlive me? And then I had visions of my 2 younger sisters coming to my house and fighting over the light bulbs. Oh, wow. Once again, set the wheels in motion. Okay, are you where you really want to be? Are you doing what you want to do? Is this your true purpose? How do you see things going forward from this point? And again, within a few years' period of time, I had come to the conclusion, I felt that I really and truly had completed everything that I had been called to do as the minister in Madison, and made the decision that I was not going to renew my contract with them and pursue some other kinds of things. And we started to have some conversations about, you know, do we really want to stay in Madison? Do we see this as our forever home? You know, and all of that kind of stuff like that. And then, of course, we ended up moving back here, and a whole bunch of things changed as a result of reading that flyer, you know, about these energy-efficient light bulbs that'll last forever, you know? So, you know, you could probably say that the police cutoff application time, you know, blew up my whole life back in Detroit, and my LED light bulbs lit the way for me to come back home here to Kalamazoo. I don't know, but I'm sure you have your own. So if you give yourself some time to think about this, how do those passages of time show up for me beyond birthdays and all of these other typical ways of looking at things. I can guarantee you that you'll probably have some very interesting thoughts going forward as a result of that. So that's the notion of the passage of time and paying attention to time awareness markers as they show up in our lives. So now this brings me to the second point that I wanted to chat with you about this morning, and that's about having a process to take us through and deal with and sort through these feelings that come up as we notice the passage of time. And I want to lean on some writings of one of my professors from ministerial school and an author, a Unity author that you probably are very familiar with, Robert Brummett. He's written Finding Yourself in Transition, Living Originally, and he's also written, most recently, a book called Birthing a Greater Reality. And so according to him, eldering is a perspective that sees aging as another stage of development. And he writes that each stage of life and each stage of development has its own curriculum. You know, stuff for us to learn, stuff for us to be aware of and tune into. And this one in particular, you know, aging and eldering, it involves a process, as he suggests, at looking at our life from 4 different directions. So I want to share that with you this morning because I think it's helpful. So the first one he talks about is looking back. And he says that looking back involves harvesting our life experiences, looking at and harvesting our values and our achievements and our accomplishments, knowing that when we look at the world and see the world, we realize that, yeah, it's a better place because we were here, because of some of the things that we did along the way. And as much as we love and relish and enjoy our accomplishments and the things that we have done along the way, we can't just sit and rest on our laurels because we can't live in the past. We can only live in this present moment. And so when we look back, we also have to face some regrets, maybe, or some disappointments that we've had along the way. And we have to learn how to make peace with those things. Again, because we can't live in the past, we can only live in this moment. So we may not be able to change something that we see when we look back, but we certainly can take our lessons learned from it and move those forward and move those into this present moment. So harvesting. The next thing he talks about is looking forward. And he says that looking forward means accepting the inevitability of death. He says it requires us to look at any fears we may have around that, any foreboding, any funk, that we might be feeling about stuff like that, and to just simply get clear about what those feelings are really about. What is it that we believe or don't believe about what's next for us? Because believing it tends to manifest things. Thinking makes it so. So he really encourages us to get in touch with what we think about that stuff, and sometimes that's hard to do. It's much easier to think about what color we want to paint the living room than it is to think about, oh gosh, I may not be here, but those light bulbs will still be here. Right? So this is not a morbid preoccupation, but it's simply just getting real, being honest about it. In the same way that if we were thinking about buying a new house, taking a new job, all of the things that we've done in the past, where we have been perfectly rational, thoughtful, intelligent human beings, weighing out the facts, making decisions, to take that same stuff, those achievements and accomplishments, bring it into this situation and apply it. Because guess what? We'll do the right thing. We'll make good, competent choices and decisions. So, getting real about that, and also getting real about it from the perspective of taking care of the people we love in our lives and not leaving them to deal with everything because we haven't figured out a thing. Not terribly kind or loving to just stuff our feelings and expect someone else to deal with them. So that includes, taking care of business with a will, a durable power of attorney, a medical directive, I've been threatening to clean up my password list. Do you all have a little book or something that, and you've crossed it out 9 times and you've erased things every time I've been threatening to put that into an Excel spreadsheet that's taped underneath the bottom of a drawer somewhere, like they say in all the mystery detective stories, But I think I'm probably going to start working on that because I'm getting really tired of flipping through that book and looking at all the stuff that isn't applicable anymore. So there's also this idea of looking outward. And of course, that's all about how we show up in the world and who we're showing up with. About cultivating and sustaining meaningful relationships with other people. Friendships, community relationships, as well as family relationships are all part of looking outward and deciding how we want to show up. And then the last piece that he talks about is looking inward, in which he invites us to begin to release our identifications with all of our human experiences. He said we are so much more than what our resume says about, our role as a team leader or, a professional or, somebody who delivers services to folks. We are so much more than those names and titles and things that we've called ourselves through the years. And we really need to just let that go and focus on who we are now, what we want to be now. And he also encourages us to release our identification with the physical body that we had when we were a younger adult. Again, we can't live in the past. We can remind ourselves of stuff that we've accomplished before and set some new goals for ourselves. But we can't live in the past. We need to live in this moment. So deal with what you've got, and go from there. But what's really important and really what is the spiritual part of this is when you begin to release those attachments to those things that are of the world, you free up the space to know yourself at a much deeper and more authentic level. And that's what matters, always. But particularly, that's what matters as we get older. So, looking backwards, looking forward, looking outward, looking inward is his process, if you will, for handling the things that we observe, the things that come up in our time awareness moments. I want to share one last idea with you here before I wrap this up. There's a book by a woman named Connie Zweig, and she's written some great stuff on doing your shadow work. And she's written this book called The Inner Work of Age, Shifting from Role to Soul. And what she says is that elders are made, they're not born. It's not a number thing. You turn a certain age and all of a sudden you're an elder. She said it's not an automatic transition. It's not another role that we just step into like a change of clothing or a change of wardrobe. It's a deep interior shift from role to soul that takes us to a higher level of soul awareness. So eldering is a term that was originally used by the Quakers to denote religious training that was provided to the younger people by typically the older people in the community, and though age was not a prerequisite for that, mostly what they were looking for was a familiarity and personal experience with traditional religious ideas and understandings, and some people who knew what it meant to live a spiritual life. And typically those were the older people in the community who would then become the mentors and teachers of the younger people. And there's a term now that's called spiritual eldering, which is used to, denote our focus in later life on spiritual development, on our interpersonal relationships and working stuff out, on communications, and on service. And this conveys the idea that our lives can continuously improve as we get older, as long as we continue to be of service, and as long as we continue to sustain and to create and sustain authentic relationships with people of all ages. So eldering is an evolving sort of process. It's a holy longing of your soul and a demand to pay attention to your soul. And that kind of makes sense because all of a sudden we have less demands in many ways from the outside world, and so now it's time to pay attention to that inside world, that soul world. And as we make that shift again from role to soul, we no longer think that we are this or we are that, job title, fill in the blank. But we begin to know and understand deep in our hearts that I am that I am. I am that I am. And truly, that's what matters. So, as we go through this, I'm going to invite you to take some time on your own to reflect upon your own time awareness moments and markers, your age application deadline moments, your LED light bulb moments. I invite you to use Brummett's 4-step curriculum to support that shift from adulthood into elderhood, and to find that freedom and space to hear the voice of your soul. And I hope that you'll plan to join us for the rest of this series as we pray together, as we sing together, as we share our stories in the Spiritual Cafe and compare notes with each other about how we are learning to enjoy the passage of time. God bless you. Have an amazing week.
Hi, I'm Karen Colson, your board treasurer. And please join me in our board affirmation, including all of you at home. Life is a divine healing stream within my body, mind, and being. And as the ushers come forward, please join me in our offertory blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
That could also have been love. That was where my mind went. Love is another kind of stream. So we just want to invite you one more time this Thursday evening. We have Joy Zimmerman from the Kansas City Unity community. She's coming up on a route. She did her recent album that's been doing very well in the Americana folk world. She recorded it here in town at La Luna Studios, and Beth and I did some work on her album, so we just wanted to give her a warm welcome back into the community to share some of the beautiful music she has, as well as a few of Beth's originals upstairs at 7 this Thursday. So we get one more song from Beth.
It's called Karmic Rewind. It's all about learning life lessons.
Remembering an early time, not sure, but with no wrinkles on my eyes, what might I tell her as I play rewind? 'Cause I'm learning this lesson another time. Around and back again. Do I really need to learn this lesson again? But from what I found on these trips around the sun, with acceptance, half the battle's won. I can't change you, no matter how hard I try in the same way. I can't reshape the sky, but maybe I could learn to fly, and I'll give this lesson another try. Around and back again. Do I really need to learn this lesson again? But from what I found on these trips around the sun, with acceptance, half the battle's won. Did I have to go so far away to find my way home? But each end is a beginning, and I've never walked alone. These questions have no answers. The circle has no end. Make me grateful I can start again. Around and back again. Do I really need to learn this lesson again? But from what I found on these trips around the sun, with acceptance, half the battle's won. Sing me now, can I be more kind? Maybe even thankful for the tears and the lines, moving with more grace and thankfulness this time. Surrender to the karmic rewind. Around
Thank you again, Beth, and the music team. Oh my goodness. Aren't we ready for fall to just enjoy this day and the rest of this season? So thank you for that. All right. We are a tithing church, and so this month our tithes go to Unity Worldwide Ministries, Unity Regional Conference. Oh, here we go. Here's the envelopes. I was like, where are they? Okay. So we have Great Lakes Unity Regional Conference, Unity Worldwide Ministries, YWCA Domestic Assault Shelter, and Unity of Kalamazoo. Okay. And then, all right. Let us pray. Let us pray. Sweet Spirit, as we enter into fall, we are aware of so many blessings and things to be thankful for. We are thankful for all the gifts received today and throughout the week. We know that these will be put to the bright and perfect use so we may continue to be a positive path for spiritual living right here in our community. May we be prosperous in our daily lives, knowing that we have everything we need. Amen. Okay. All right. And let us, as we bring our service to a close, I invite you to please stand and join me in our prayer for protection. Okay. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. All right. And then as we sing the peace song, if you're comfortable, you may hold hands with your neighbor or just place your hand over your heart and connect within.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let the peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow to take